the very top of Ron's head. So push the screen forward somehow. There we go. Can you guys see everybody else too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys can hear us okay? Raise your hand if you can hear me.
I can hear you, but I don't.
No, not you guys. I mean them.
Okay.
I can hear you because you're close to me, but I don't know if they.
So they can kind of hear you guys. So you just have to talk really loud.
Okay.
Okay.
So we could, what?
Put the microphone by the microphone. Does it? Yeah.
Let's see if that makes it better. Michelle, does that make it any better for you guys?
Where's the, on the top? Okay.
Is that any better for you guys to hear us?
Okay.
I don't know.
Where did I touch?
Yeah, that's better.
So, okay.
I'm going to hang up, Michelle.
All right. Go ahead, Mayor.
Okay, let's get going. I need to accept the, you want to do the pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America,
Okay.
Republic for which it stands,
One
one
nation,
nation, God, indivisible.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda for tonight.
I make a. I'll second.
Been moved and second. All those in favor say aye.
I.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, department reports. Chief, are you there?
I can see a hand.
You have to be somewhat close to the computer to talk. Can you hear him okay?
Yes.
Take your mask down so we can understand you.
Good spot, Chief.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Blockbuster report. Operations in order. Have monthly stats for what you guys want. Any questions?
No questions for me or anybody else?
Well, because I can't read the report, I have to assume that the report is within normal standards.
22 calls for the month.
I'm sorry, what?
22 calls for the month.
Okay.
Okay, you're gonna ask about the bill. That is, so as soon as we pay the bills order.
How's the motorcycle working out for you?
Motorcycle is great, it's parked outside, you don't see it. Pretty happy with it.
Okay, any other questions for Chief?
No.
No other questions? Thank you, Chief. Mike Fisher, are you up?
Michael.
Evening, everyone. Kind of make it quick, or run a little behind. We still are trying to fine tune this screw press. That's some polymer that we're going to try out last time. So we're working on that probably next week. The solids, the test has been sent in, and the first step has been completed. So we're waiting to hear back from that Sept. It's gotta go through. We did, get the truck and the trailer, it's in service, you'll see it running around town. Everything's working out good on that thing. And, we're moving all the stock, you might have seen that too, from back here, we're putting it on that reservoir. And we're making a spot for it there. So, we'll see that happening too. We'll get some stock, gravel, sand there. Put some equipment that was stacked down by the reservoir there. Put up there that we're not in the way. That's it.
Do I tell me what the project's doing?
The projects, as far as like the, all that stuff, is gonna be like the ninth, I believe it was. And, they're grading right now, trying to keep the dust down. I'm sure we have some, residents that are glad to see that happen. Got kind of drug out, but, they are making headway. So, hopefully that will be completed and looking good when they get here and get black.
The things on back order. The signs on back order. The flashing
Oh,
beacon thing.
yes, and the crosswalk sign, they thought might be a problem to get here on time, it turned out to be a problem. It's on back order, the school's still on remote learning, so, that's one good thing. I'm not sure exactly when they expect that to get here. I think that, the engineers have got a rush on everything, so as that comes through, that will be installed. Any questions?
What is a polymer and why do you need it?
Oh, it runs through our digester, it runs through with the solids coming out of the digester. And when we set the screw press up, we set it up and we start running it with the polymer that we already had. And it's working, it has helped and it has saved time and effort, but we think we can do better, so works better than even before.
Thank you, Mike. Michelle, you're up.
I have nothing.
Any questions for Michelle? Okay, moving along. Public hearing, the 6-year transportation plan is supposed to be at 6:02. It is now 6:40. We're gonna have somebody speak on that, Michelle?
Only if there's any questions from the public. None of the public has come to pick up the 6-year transportation plan.
Okay,
Is there any questions from the public on the 6-year transportation plan? There is no questions, Mayor. If you want to go ahead and close it and go back into regular session.
yes, I'll close it, go back to regular session, which is now 6:41. Special presentation by Commissioner Gary Stamper to discuss the airport.
Gary, are you talking about the airport?
Yeah.
Wherever you are? Do you want to come up here? I don't recognize anybody.
Also, thank you, everyone. First off, this is, I can relate to all this, by the way. We can. So this is what we do all the time. And I know there's some challenges. Just a couple of things. I want to bring Josh Metcalf, our Public Works Director, and then John Moore up here is the airport manager. And I'm going to let them, I'm going to give you a little background. Josh can go through the background, and then there might be a question or two specifically, and we'll, and I know one of the asks that I talked to a person that had requested that we put together a timeline of some kind to see exactly what's going to be taking place at what time. And I think, you know, I'll let Josh talk a little bit about that, but we have not heard a lot, to my knowledge. So I know there was an article in the paper, and I'll just let Josh be our talk a little bit about this, so we can answer some questions, and also we got John, our airport manager, is very involved.
All right, well, I'll just start with some information on the timeline for the study that's currently taking place. This will hopefully answer some questions about the article that was in the Chronicle a couple weeks ago, and get everybody on the same page with the facts. Right now, there's the Commercial Aviation Coordinating Commission, which was a request from the legislature last year. Their main objective was to find a new location by January 1st, 2022 to offset the traffic at Sept Airport. That was the main objective. There were some other primary objectives that go along with this committee has been tasked with, and they're going to be ultimately going to be recommendations that address other ways to address the capacity issue, not only at CTAC, but also at PDX. We're talking about everything from passenger travel to commercial to freight and aviation. Yes, they are looking for another regional airport, but there are other things that will come out of this study. So I wanted to make sure that was clear. The timeline that they're working on is by January 2021, this committee is to have it narrowed down to 6 locations presented to the legislature. And then by 2021 September, that list will be shortlisted to 2 locations for this regional facility. And then if all goes well by January 1st, 2022, they will have that narrowed down to a preferred location. There are a number of technical committees that are working on this study, and they're looking at everything from airspace studies to real estate development, all of that. That will all be considered in this evaluation. And as a shortlisted location, we'll weigh into how they make it. So at the end of the study, the idea is that they'll have one preferred location for a new regional airport, and 2, a series of recommendations for other improvements that will help address the need. So what have we done to date? Lewis County has done nothing other than send a letter of support to WashDOT Aviation, asking for this committee to keep us in mind as they go through this evaluation. We're not expecting that this is going to be a regional location, but what we are hoping is that we can work through this study with this committee and look for other ways to capitalize on the asset that we have, whether that's finding some funding for other improvements at the airport, or if we can find some other kind of
Excuse me a moment. I hate to interrupt, but Michelle, could you please let Glenda back into the meeting? She got kicked out and she's missing all of this. Sorry.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
So we'll be, over the next year or so, we'll be working when needed, but we'll also be participating in the meetings with WashDOT and this committee and weighing in where we can and where they ask us to, information, feedback, and then as they hit the milestones, they will be communicating with us. As they work through this process, it will be a very extensive public outreach as well. So there will be plenty of opportunities for the communities that are being considered to come to public meetings, have a voice at the table. So they have not started that process yet. I expect as we go into the middle of next year, as they start working at identifying locations, they will start that process. They will have, I would imagine, a very extensive public outreach process that will include localized meetings as well as broader meetings. And kind of where we're at. Anybody have any questions? Like, try to answer them the best I can, but that's kind of where the process is at. And at this point in time, Lewis County has put probably into this other than a letter of support. There, any questions or anybody on online that have questions?
Didn't we apply for this, Josh, just so we were able to apply for grants to help the airport out? Was that the main purpose of getting on this list?
That's part of the idea. The other idea is that if there are opportunities for new jobs, new industry to come in, we just want to be able to have a voice in that process, and look at options. And because there are things like freight, mobility, commuting, new commuting options, we want to be able to have an opportunity to play in those. And if we don't have our name on the list, we feel like we just get overlooked. So yeah, those are the two primary reasons why we've asked to be considered.
Thank you, Josh.
You bet.
I have a question. Jamie Cummings,
Jamie,
why?
can you wait until the council has their questions asked?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Is this primarily us?
Taking the state legislature.
And,
Dan, can
some
you
of the other,
not mute and get this piece of paper off the floor?
And can you repeat his question, because they won't be able to hear?
I'm John Rowley, Lewis County Airport System Manager, and I manage Toledo Airport and Packard Airport. To answer your question, we're a very
John,
small-
John, you're gonna have to kind of talk to them and he can hear.
Okay.
You don't have to look at him.
Yeah, we're pretty much a small, very large pond out there. So they're looking at us, based on a few of the criteria that we originally had. A group of individuals, numbers of around 25 or 30 individuals. This team is looking for this. What they're trying to do is to figure out where logistically it makes sense for them to locate a regional airport. And although we are in a good position down here, as far as halfway or almost halfway with Portland and Seattle, and we have a few going for us that the other airports in our region, we don't. For example, that's pretty much what puts Chicago's out of the ball game. Also is extremely hemmed in geologically down there with the rivers and the highway. It does leave us a few pluses on our side. However, if you're looking for a location to relieve traffic from a major airport like either Portland or Seattle, Seattle pretty much reached its climax here a few years back, and that there just isn't any go. It took them something like 27 years to get the third runway in there. And that was literally moving Mount St. Helens into the hole up there to make it around to be able to do it. Toledo, we do have open area, and it is an option for them to take a look at what can be done down in our area. But we don't have going for us. We don't have passenger traffic capabilities down here at this point, nor and the cargo capabilities. So if you're looking for an area, and I'm just going on what I'm hearing from the aviation community about the region.
Don't get too far away.
The idea is that Toledo doesn't have the numbers that would make it the logical first choice for what they're trying to do. And the reason for that, of course, is if you look at Olympia, and that's where Olympia does have population base. You have the transportation base. You've got rail. You've got trucking, and Interstate 5 is right there. They have a rather large airport to begin with, which gives them a good foundation. We're a single runway airport down here. Been a rural airport since 1943 with the Army Corps and either runway. We're not I don't think we're a priority with it, but they did put us on the list because we do have a number of pluses for them to look at. The people they're looking for this, not necessarily just aviation, and that's you consider what you're talking about. Citing for a regional airport, it's a financial situation as well as just aviation. You look at what we've got here, we're probably not going to go further than what we are right now. We just put $3 million into infrastructure improvement for the airport out here. None of that extend the runways, made the ramps any bigger than what we already had. All it did was bring us up to speed. We should have been doing around 25 years. I will say that one of the things that is occurring in Lewis County, live here. I was born and raised here, graduated Toledo High School. And I've watched that airport pretty much remain stagnant all these years. Not a lot that's been going on. However, look around your area here, you'll see new construction going on, both from a residential standpoint and from an industrial. So I think what you're going to see is the industrial part of this thing is going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Take a look at what happened over here with carbon glass at Winlock. Take a look at Benaroya and what's going on with the over here. You're going to have, whether we really appreciate it or not, they have development in Lewis County. And it's more how we control that development than it is will it occur or won't it occur. It will occur. And it's so from an airport standpoint, I think we're pretty low down on the list as what could happen here. But I cannot rule out the possibility that they might later on and say, you know, you are the best choice. So at this stage of the game, it's going to wind up being the citizens of Lewis County will have input. It's not, they're not going to steamroll you. But you're doing this with a group of individuals that isn't necessarily aviation. They are finance. I can promise you from the Lewis County standpoint, as Josh said, we haven't made any specific overtures for them. All we did was put a name on the list. Surprisingly enough, the name is still on the list. We'll see where it goes from here, but I can honestly tell you that I feel that maybe Olympia is probably going to be the choice. That's, again, just an opinion. Any questions?
Actually, I've got something going on here. So because you're walking away from the computer with the microphone, so I'm only getting about 50% of what you had to say. So I'm going to be really hopeful that what you're saying, or what I thought I heard you say, is that the county is not, or they are behind this, like, you know, wanting it to happen.
We are wanting them to consider the Toledo Airport as they look at this project as a whole. We're not expecting this as a regional airport. What we're looking at are options for us to make improvements out at Toledo Airport in the future.
Okay. And you're asking for a letter of support. Did I catch that right?
The county has already sent a letter of support to the committee asking for the Toledo Airport to be considered as they look at options.
Okay. So what exactly?
So no, he's not looking for a letter of support from the city.
No.
Okay, so what do you need from the city exactly?
At this
Nothing.
time, nothing. We are just updating on the status of the Toledo Airport and where this project sits. That's it.
So this is Michelle. So currently we do have a lot of citizens that have heard of what could be happening at the airport and very concerned. So the mayor thought it was prudent to have Commissioner Stamper come with some staff to find out what's happening there. And there's a lot of audience members I know that are here because of the airport too, and with concerns. So we just want to, you know, be very open and have everybody aware.
So
That's-
I heard about this, you know, a month or two back, but I quite frankly think that anything that can be done for South Lewis County is going to be an improvement. I don't care if it takes 5 years, 10 years, 1 year. Everything that we can do for South Lewis County is a plus. And just because we don't have rural transportation yet, we don't have rail, we don't have all those things, I think as we go along in the future, we're going to have those. And it's just a matter of time. And if we want to move this county along outside of just Centralia and Chehalis area, then these are the things we have to start looking at and considering. And that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and that's really what we're hoping to capture and use as an advantage for the community as a whole, because we do have those things close. We do have a transit close. We have rail just across the freeway. We have a new industrial park that's going in 5 minutes from Toledo.
Right.
The first building at 1.2 million is getting ready to start construction. So those are all things that are positives for the Toledo Airport and the Toledo community. Any improvements we can make at the Toledo Airport make it more of an attraction to Toledo, but the county as a whole. So if we can find some interest that would bring jobs to this community, then that's something that we want to take advantage of. And we have a perfect asset to do that with. And the more we can do, the more the community can market that as well.
I mean, right now it's just a recreational area as far as I'm concerned. And
That's very true.
I think it could just be so much more, you know.
There are a number of small rural airports that are destination locations. There are a few things that we can do to put this airport at the top of the list there.
Yeah.
Well, just like we had Packwood Airport almost die, but they came in under the gun to get the money to support that airport. And like John mentioned at our last meeting I had with John, me and Michelle were there, and that was our Vision Toledo meeting. Some good ideas come about there also, to gussy up the airport, make a drive-by or parking area so people can watch airplanes and stuff like that. Something we need, like John suggested, to help the airport out, because all these years it's just been sitting there doing nothing.
I agree. And I just feel like it would be a missed opportunity if we didn't start capitalizing on what the county already has. You know, it's a shame that East Lewis County is rural enough that there is not enough services out there for everybody that needs them. You get past Morton, there isn't even a bank. So, you know, it's just food for thought for all of us, for all these small communities, for the entire county. I realize we're just Toledo, but we have a voice as well. And sometimes it takes those of us stepping forward and then being the first ones to say, hey, we need to take a look at this to get other people on board. So that's just my opinion.
So is there any other questions from the council?
No, I don't have anything. I'm done.
So at this point, Mayor, if you would like to take any questions or comments from the audience, it's up to you.
Yeah, go ahead and open it up to the public, the ones that showed up. At least they have some concern. I'd like to hear their questions.
So I know Jamie was chiming in real quick. So Jamie, are you ready?
Yeah, I am. I have concerns that we've been given this timeline, but some of what we are seeing right now, for example, the draft drawings of what the airport could look like from the Washington State Department of Transportation, give me concerns that we are further along in this process than we are being informed of. I'm uncomfortable that I don't believe we're being told the whole story on this.
I can speak to that, and they have done some initial evaluations. The technical committees have been put together, been together now about a year and a half since this initiative was put out by the legislature. So they have done some initial groundwork looking at basically desktop reviews of airports across the state. Everything they've done is preliminary based on whatever data is available to all of the general public. There hasn't been any other analysis or data investigation beyond that I'm aware of. And that was purely to start the review. And it's all data that's been put together over the last 20, 25 plus years. There's no new information. It's just a starting point for the committee.
So if there's somebody else that would like to speak from the public, can you please come up and state your name?
Hi, my name is Joanna Jones. I live at the end of the runway on Schoolhouse Lane. Hi. And I would be one of the families that's already impacted, because we cannot sell our property out there because this is holding us back. This is over everybody's head. We were never given an opportunity to have any say so. In the July 13th meeting of the commissioners, it was hidden at the end of the meeting that you were sending a letter putting Toledo on the airport. It just was a non-committal. A letter is being sent. Didn't say anything about expansion. Didn't say that it would be 3 runways long. We're talking a huge. Here is the conceptual footprint. Can they see it from here? I contacted the commission that are looking into it. They have already conceptualized an idea, and it's true, it's only an idea, but we're farther along than you think. They're actually considering us. And if you read Julie McDonald's commentary, after they focused on 30 airports, they got down to 11, they got down to the review list, 6 potential sites: Arlington, Bremerton National Airport, Everett Payne Field, Shelton Sanderson Field, Tacoma Narrows, which according to Pierce County is now off due to major community opposition, and Toledo. So we've already made it into that final review. And I do not believe that anybody thinks that the commissioners are going to turn down if we get offered to be a major regional airport. That's what you put us on the list for, not just to get money, but also to make us a major force. And saying that you think it's not going to impact us, Ms. Morgan, is ridiculous. As they start dropping out of the sky 25 miles out, that will be over Winlock and Toledo. And this conceptual plan shows that it's out all kinds of roads in the area, all the housing. We've got a new school. Who's going to pay for that? Oh, wait a minute. The flight path will be right over our high school. So I think people need to get behind this and really start taking a look at where we really are on this. Do we really want to lose Toledo? We're talking a major airport here, not just a little bit of funding that they think they might get. They put us on for a reason. They want to make a regional, large-scale airport. And frankly, they can do it. They've shown that there's room out there, but it's going to take a lot of property. We have 4,600 or so acres, and they need 9,000. Do that, that's going to take out probably the mission, the Cowlitz Senior Tribal Center, all the housing. They're showing that they're taking out, what street is that? That's Tucker, part of Jackson possibly, and Spencer. Thank you. So we're talking about some major alterations to the lifestyle here, and we really are. And I'd like people to start fighting back and at least calling and saying, we don't want that. As long as you don't say anything, they're going ahead, and so is the commission with WisDOT. Thank you.
Michelle, before you allow another person, I'd like to go on record stating I never said it would not impact us. That's not what I said, and that never came out of my mouth. So I'd like the record to reflect that.
Did you guys want to comment at all or just listen to some responses or some questions?
Yeah, I'll just, First, again, I thank everyone for being here too, and there is going to be more comments. A couple of the things that I think that we need to think about. And I know that there's plenty of comments that are not in favor of this, but at the same time, I hear a lot of people that are in favor. Simply because we've got a brand new high school over there. Is there going to be a regional airport here? I would say almost 99% no, it's not. I drove up to Bremerton this weekend and actually went through Bremerton and Shelton. Shelton, I believe, has it's about 1,200 square acres of airport space up there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Bremerton's about 1,700? Yeah, right at 1,700. So, and I went and drove into Bremerton there and I talked to guys that seemed to be in the know on a lot of things. And I was telling him what was going on there. And he was pointing out some things. So if we're talking about the amount of territory that it would take to put a regional airport in here, and I'm going to reemphasize again, there are people that would like to see opportunity come to Toledo. Believe it or not, I know that's hard to believe, but I think that we have been in a vacuum so long in this county, thinking that we love our rural lifestyle, we really do. But at some point, we need to think beyond that, and what's out there. Is this a possibility? I don't think so, but is a possibility. And when Joanne, you stated that we are looking to leverage some dollars, so we've got better oil property over there, 1.2 million square feet. That's what's going up there now. There's room for 2 more of those over there. There's going to be recreation opportunity. We got a high school. Some of you are probably very well aware of Aviation High School up in Seattle. But it wasn't very, and they moved it there. I would love to see STEM technology get a hold of, and connect with our school kids. So we don't have to ship them out for jobs in other areas, so they can stay here. Now, is that going to be a regional airport? I doubt it, but I would like to see some of those connections. So we're going to keep on, we'll end up being on the list. And again, if there's probably very little chance of anything happening here. But I think at the same time, if we continue to put our head in the sand all the time about maybe an opportunity, I don't think we're doing justice for the people of Lewis County or the people of Toledo. At least see what's out there. And so that's where I think that we're coming from. We put in $6 million the county has, along with the FAA and also the state in the last 3 years now. So we need hangar space over there. We need new hangars. Don will tell you, once a week he gets a call. Hey, you got any hangar space over there? And we need to generate revenue. You are paying the taxes for these 2 airports that we have. And we'd like to see some opportunity come in and actually make some money on it and earn its keep. And that would be one of the revenue sources we can do to make some improvements. And I believe, what is our, about 5,000 feet, I think is the runway, John? Yeah. Out there? 700? 4,700. 4,700. So it's not going to get any bigger than that. There's no way. We just don't have the capacity to do that. But at the same time, we still need to look. We still need to look to see what's out there and kick the tire. I can't afford an expensive car, but I can walk by and dream. Well, who knows? I don't have a lot of family with a lot of money, so I know it's not going to happen. But at the same time, you still got to look and you still got to dream. I got grandkids. I would love for them to be involved with aviation. That would be a great opportunity. It's one of the, it's very high paying jobs. And obviously, is it going to be here? But the construction's supposed to start in 2035, probably somewhere in there. And that's not going to be done until probably 7, 8 years later. So who knows what that's going to look like? And I get it. I get it. If you have a place down there, I understand completely. But I will tell you right now, there's a lot of people in this town that would like to see something, business done a little bit differently. And we talk about new opportunities. So I think that's where we're headed. Is it going to happen? No. But could it potentially be, when, Benaroya comes over? They want to build a big hangar over there because they want to, store some of their product over there, because I think it's Lowe's, if I'm not mistaken. Is there a chance where, what's aviation gonna look like in 10 years, where they've got drones and they've already got electric aircraft? So there's things that they can do, and they're gonna fit whatever's gonna fit in their box. And so that's not gonna probably include expanding the runway, so there'll be other means of transportation. So again, I'm not a pilot, but I think at the same time, I think we really need to take a look at everything. And I don't think, even though we're on the short list, I think we're looking for an opportunity to do some things for our person and our standing.
Thank you, Gary. I'd just like to throw a couple more comments in. When you look at what the airport is right now, it's pretty much the same airport that you've seen out there for the last 40 years. Not an awful lot has changed. We had a few hangars built over the last 20, 25 years or so. But this airport is going to grow. And whether or not it turned into a regional airport, I have my doubts about that. I can pretty much guarantee you, because of where we're located, because of the industrial interest in our area down here now, what you're seeing at Benaroya right now, Nicholson Parkway, is just the beginning. This is going to go all the way up and down the freeway, both sides of the freeway between and Seattle. You get a small airport like we have out here, you're going to see triple crop and going from the airport. They're going to do that the closest airport they can possibly reach. Right now, they're doing that at Chehalis, where there's jet traffic moving in and out of Chehalis. Doesn't seem to bother too many people up there that the jets are coming and going, because they're actually quieter than a lot of the prop jets that are out there, and they're out there now. So I think in the long run, you will see Toledo Airport expand. We do have draft plans on your long-range airport plan that's been in place for 4 or 5 years now, showing another 1,600 feet on the end of the runway. Wanted to get anybody into a panic, all you had to do was say UPS or FedEx. It seemed like everybody's just going to crazy over that. And the telephone calls that I was getting the other day wanted to know a little bit more about how we're going to expand the runway out there. In the future, we very well can expand the runway. Now, 737s in the area. The purpose is to take care of the existing aircraft and the possibility of executive aircraft. 1,600 more feet of runway out there. I think you may see that next few years. I may not be around to be there when it happens, but I think you will see it. And it all has all to do with the increase in industry in our area. I go back to what Commissioner Stamper said. All 3 of my kids had to leave the area. This wasn't gainful. I found that a little disappointing, but here's the bottom line. There's going to be development. How it happens is going to be up to the citizens of the area here, as to which direction they want to go. Airport is going to become a regional airport? Probably not. There's a very good possibility that won't happen. Will it grow? Yes, it will. And I'm doing my best while I'm in this job position up there, see if I can make it. A lot of the stuff that we're doing here is infrastructure, and in particular, we want to make this airport a more closely related airport to the city of Toledo. It is Toledo Airport. It's got other names, South County, Edwards, whatever you want to call it. Bottom line is, when people call in the radio there, they call in Toledo Airport, and we acknowledge Toledo Airport. So, Mayor, the meetings that we've had here in the past, we're going to try to make sure that Toledo is more closely associated with the airport. And that's plans that I've explained to Mayor Golosh and Michelle about how we can make the name more recognizable, how we can maybe get some cars available at the airport so that people will make Toledo as a destination, rather than just coming in and wondering, how am I supposed to get from the airport to downtown? We've got the restaurants, burger bars, whatever else down here that benefit from us. Show you that that does work. Packwood is a classic example. 3 years ago, we rebuilt the Packwood Airport, and they are having dozens of aircraft coming here per day. Walk over a block and a half, 2 blocks of town, patronize the local businesses over there. We can have the same thing happen here. We just have to get the means to the end. Again, will it turn in regional? Most likely not. Will it enlarge? Yes. Go ahead.
You need to come up and talk into the microphone, and because otherwise it won't be recorded and they will not be able to hear you.
I got
Sorry.
20% here.
And state your name, please.
Okay, my name is Rain Emmerich. I live here in town. And about 20 years ago, I lived in Orchards, which is north of Vancouver, about 10 miles north of Portland Airport, directly under the crosswind approach, their crosswind runway. And I can tell you that at 10 miles out, those planes went over low enough to light up my apartment. Okay. And they go every 2.5 minutes, a jet overhead, and you cannot yell over the sound, right? From my point of view, you guys have signed us up for a regional airport. Whatever you may think may happen, you guys have signed us up for a regional airport. If we have that kind of thing going in here, in and out, it's just gonna be a ghetto for anybody who hasn't got the money to get the hell out. That's the future that you're signing us up for. Not all these fancy little stars, okay? I've lived under the airport. 10 miles out. Furthermore, these runways that they're planning on expanding line right up with the Cowlitz River Valley, clear out past Mayfield. Noise travels, folks, up and down that valley. So it's not going to be just Toledo. Everybody who has a kid in the Toledo school district needs to understand what the impact is. Our schools here are going to be impacted. 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes. I'll tell you what, by the third day, you're ready to put your head against the wall, right? It is not even remotely funny. And from what I saw in the meeting notes on those slides, they were looking at bringing in cargo, not people. Well, okay, that means warehouses. How many family wage jobs is there, really? Really? I haven't heard anybody who works for Walmart or Amazon say, oh yeah, it's great. They basically say, well, it's kind of better than starving to death. That's the sum total of their enthusiasm for it. Okay, that is like completely against everything that this region, at least, of this county that I can see has stood for. The other thing is, I moved out here, I was looking for clean air, clean water, and quiet. I sure as hell don't want an airport dropped on my head. And a little bit of expansion is one thing. You guys signed us up for a regional airport. Regardless of what you think, that's what you signed us up for. That airport sits at the head of Bill Creek, plus upstream of us on the Cowlitz. So I suggest that the city of Toledo start getting water samples carefully tested for all kinds of pollution, so that when that airport is responsible for polluting our city water, that we can come back and win a lawsuit for it. And every well owner out there should do the same. Because you've got aviation fuel, you've got the fuel for the supply, for the trucks. You've got firefighting foam, you've got de-icer. And given the way the droughts are going, there may be firefighting planes going in and out with other chemicals coming in and out. So I don't want the noise, I don't want the pollution, I don't want the water pollution. It is not going to bring tourists to Toledo. It is not going to do anything for our property here. We're not going to be able to sell it. We're not going to be able to get out.
Okay, so is there anybody else that would like to speak in the public? Because like as Commissioner Stamper said, there will be, if this goes further, there will be public meetings about this where the public will be able to talk to.
I'll just quickly add one more thing to that. As the project develops, it will have a environmental process that will go along with it. So they start identifying the individual projects that will start as well simultaneously, and there will be a number of opportunities for the public to weigh in, as well as the agencies. So that will happen, and I am happy to come out with or without Commissioner Stamper and give an update at any time that we have one and answer any questions that I can. So happy to do that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, Josh, that was one of the things too, that we will keep everyone, if there's any information that's kind of like usually, whether it be once a month or whatever that looks like, we can update where we're at, because quite frankly, I know that I had not heard anything from the state or the Fed at any level, so it was in the neither here nor there, but at the same time, so we had not received anything. So, but we will be coming and making sure that council meetings or whatever that looks like, to put some information on the county website. If we hear anything, if there's anything that looks like it's newsworthy, for sure that we'll come and address the council along with putting it on our website. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Is there anything else, Michelle?
That would be all comments about that at this time.
Okay, thank you everybody for their comments and their questions and answers. Let's move on to public comments on agenda items. Is there any public comment?
Can you guys all hear okay? Okay, perfect. No comments.
No comments. Okay, let's go on with new business. Number 1, resolution 251A surplus property. Everybody got that in their packet to review? I'll entertain a motion to accept it or not.
Motion to accept the resolution 251A.
Do I hear-
Emily seconded.
Okay, there's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business number 2, resolution 252A 6-year transportation plan. Entertain a motion for that.
I'll also make a motion to accept resolution 252A 6-year transportation plan.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 on the new business, Park Board recommendation History Jail. Entertain a motion for that one.
Well, we have people here to talk about it first.
Okay.
Brooke Acosta was going to be on the Zoom meeting and she never came in. I don't know if Brian, were you going to take place? Okay, come on up, Brian. So this is Brian Dennis, who's on our Planning Commission and Common Ground.
Hey, Brian.
Can you hear me?
Come a little
You're
closer.
close enough to the
Yeah,
computer.
you need to come a little closer
We
to.
had a
Now we can hear you good.
2 weeks ago. And a proposal for the new historic jail garden has by Brooke Acosta. And we had a few more questions to run by you guys about the building itself and what we can do with it. And I was gonna go over the next phases of it. Did you all get the proposal for the garden?
They did. They got all the information and the.
I didn't design it. But I could probably answer some questions.
What was that?
Not design it, but I could probably answer your questions.
Michelle, for some reason, I'm not hearing him. Are you guys hearing him now?
No, he's very difficult to hear.
Yeah. Try not doing the microphone and just talk down by the computer, maybe.
All right, I didn't design it, but I could probably answer some questions about it.
Awesome. I heard you perfectly loud and clear.
So does council have questions about what was presented in your packet?
No.
Nope.
The Ron thinks it looks great.
I think it's a fabulous idea myself, just.
It's a fabulous idea from Glenda.
Mhm. Looks good.
I thought it was really nice designed and give some.
So if council doesn't have any questions of Brian, you can go ahead and make a motion to approve the recommendations from the Toledo Park Advisory Board.
I make a motion that we recommend the trail
So,
presented to us by the park board.
so Emily made a motion and Ron seconded. John, who? Guy seconded. Is there any other comments? If the mayor would like to call for the question,
Call for a question.
the vote,
All those in favor?
all
say
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brian. Okay, moving on. We have no more new business, no unfinished business. Other business, we got COVID-19 updates. Michelle?
So we actually have Andy Caldwell from the county, from Emergency Management, that's going to speak about the COVID.
So I was actually coming out just to talk about emergency management. I can give you COVID updates as best I can. I just wanted to cover a few things for you from emergency management. One of the issues is, hopefully everybody saw the press release today that there's a ban on all burning, to include campfires. We put a press release out this evening, just encouraging people to be a little more cautious with their outdoor activities. We are expecting these conditions to continue for 2 more days where we have low humidity and high winds. A couple things, I guess, COVID related for you. We did receive a shipment of 3,000 low-income child-sized masks. We're going to distribute those through the school districts. We're working with the school districts right now to find out how many kids you have K through 5 that are the low income. And you'll be happy that Chris Rust was the first person to respond. He seems to be always on the game, on his game with that. If you're looking for the adults, low-income masks, they are at all the food banks in the county. We have distributed about upwards of 90,000 cloth low-income masks in the county, so that continues. And then there's a couple things I want to go over just to let you know what's coming down. We are coming up on budget season, so you haven't had a contract with emergency management since 2001. We have a new contract, or it'll come in interlocal agreements. We've already sent that off to Jim Buzzer, just so he can look at it preliminarily. You won't actually get the final numbers until our budgets are finalized and we'll get the numbers out to you. But Jim already has the actual ILA and the scope of services. It's an update from 2001 till now. And with that, one of the things that I got to ask you to start thinking about is your continuity of government plans. Now, we'll get a template together for you, and we're going to help you with that continuity of government plan. But something you have to be considering is for the whole plan for all of emergency management, we need all of our contract cities to have some sort of succession plan in place of what happens to the city government if the city council or mayor are not available. And also, you need an alternate location to do business. And again, the template will fill in most of the other blocks for you, but those are the items that you guys are just need a little bit of thought into and what you want to do. And somebody from our office will help walk you through the process so we can get that all done. But that is something that we'll have to have you guys pass by resolution.
Sorry.
Okay. And with that, I really don't have much more I can update on COVID other than the fact that, you know, I think one of the numbers that seems to be gathering the most interest recently is the number of cases we have in the last 14 days. That's what the state is using to identify if our county is a high, moderate, or low risk county. I think the most accurate place to check for numbers is on the Department of Health dashboard. You just go to the DOH COVID page, and on that page, you'll find the dashboards. And that's about all I have for you. So I'll kind of keep it short, turn it over if you have any questions for me.
So does council have any questions for Andy?
No.
I do. Is there a price increase to this new ILA?
I guess I do have one question, Andy. Go ahead.
So
Unless
we're
she was.
trying to keep everything as close to last year as we can. Still in the budget process. So we're going to try to keep it as close as we can.
So Andy, in view of everything we've gone through with COVID, and you know, you have been on our community coalition teams meetings, and the fact that, you know, for social service needs, has emergency management and that department started to look at how to continue that process as we move forward? Because when we do have disasters, it's not just about the infrastructure, as we all well know now with COVID. I mean, we've had to like pull together all of our community efforts for the social service needs, you know, to be met. And I think we did that quite well. But is there going to be a piece of the template that may have that attached to it? Because I just feel like that's a really important piece for the entire county to be looking at. I mean, had we not stepped up and kind of started shooting from the hip, and this is how that got going, you know, Twin Transit, United Way, and Lewis County Seniors, I'm not sure everybody would have been doing their own thing and nobody would have been coordinating effort. And so I really hate to see all the work that we did these last several months just kind of fall to the wayside and be forgotten. And so I just was curious to know if anybody's put any thought into that.
So hopefully I can answer your question as direct as possible. I think there's a lot of lessons we're learning. We'll do an after action review at the end of this. We'll take the good and bad and hopefully learn from them. One of the things that we did learn is that we do lack in the area of gathering people quickly to address social service needs. So I don't believe that'll be something that falls away. And that's really going to be managed through partnerships and relationships. It's just a matter of increasing our scope of who we reach out to. Right now, emergency management partners with 139 different entities, and that's probably going to grow after this. But as far as what we're going to do moving forward for future incidents, FEMA is now going to allow us to keep a 60-day supply. So if you remember at the beginning, part of the problems was we weren't able to get supplies into the county. So right now we're working on building that 60-day supply so that we can supply the hospitals, our EMS, and local clinics and emergency workers with the supplies they need. And we won't have to be relying so heavily on donations from the community. So that's something we are going to work on. So hopefully moving forward, we're going to grow from all of that.
I'm really glad to hear that. Really pleased to hear that. I think what this county has done so far through COVID has been amazing. And the amount of people that have pulled together, including the health department, including emergency management within that coalition that we started. And it's just, it was so needed. And I'm really excited to know that it's probably going to continue. So, yeah.
And just to kind of add, Linda is the executive director also of the Lewis County Seniors Program, and recently has gone to a meeting with the Lewis Mason Thurston AAA Area Agency on Aging. And Lewis County is one of the counties that has actually done more services for the community and able to do that, where the others have actually gone down in their services, had to furlough employees or lay off employees, where Lewis County Seniors actually had to hire more employees to get through this. So they've done a phenomenal job, and everybody is actually looking at what has happened. And they've been able to do that with not only the public's help and the help, like Linda had mentioned, Twin Transit and United Way, but the Lewis County commissioners have stepped out and really helped in getting some of that FEMA funding for the Lewis County Seniors feeding programs to feed our seniors. So it's been really phenomenal. And so, you know, anybody that wants to take a look at that, they have websites to look at, the Lewis County Seniors website. And if you want to volunteer, they're always looking for volunteers also. So please contact Lewis County Seniors, or even Diana that is generally working here. But the senior center is closed, but seniors are able to pick up 5 meals a week here on Fridays. If they do not have the means to come and pick them up, that meaning they're homebound, they will get delivered to them. So they are not forced to pay anything, but a donation is asked for. So it is all being done because it's what needs to happen for our seniors. Do you have anything to add to that, Glenda?
No, other than to say that they're actually getting 7 meals instead of 5. So other than,
Sorry.
yeah, we're just rocking and rolling it. And a lot of my staff is from the Toledo area. So what can I say? Those Toledo girls are just fabulous. But yeah, we're just killing it, and we're going to keep doing this until we're told not to anymore. So yeah, volunteers are always needed.
Okay, Mayor.
Also, Andy, at our last meeting with the mayor's meeting, they discussed about having us get another extension of $7,000 for mask and hand wash and hand sanitizers and stuff like that extended through the month of October. Is that correct?
I think you're actually extended to
November,
the end of November. So yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Awesome.
Any other questions? Thank you, Andy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, we'll have open for public input real quick so we can end this thing. Anybody got any public input?
So is there any public input for just anything? Yes, just 1 second, Mayor.
Very quickly, first off, I think that you should thank Michelle for bringing to this county some extra funding for low-income housing. She pulled this together. I think she's the one that saw the grant on the website, or I'm not sure where you saw it. You're always looking, I know.
I have people
Anyway,
contact me.
and I think Mason County is administering this grant, but it does help a lot of people that are very, very in need of service, and in particular, I think low-income grant in particular. So thank Michelle for that. You guys are very, very fortunate to have her homing the internet, I guess, or whatever. So anyway, so good. It's good for Toledo, but it's also, and I think it does reflect what kind of a county we do have, because it is affecting the whole county and helping a lot of people in really difficult times. Thank you, Michelle. You guys are fortunate. I know you're fortunate. I want everyone to know that.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gary. Actually, I have, 26 years here in Toledo. I have a lot of connections with a lot of the state agencies and the grant agencies, and they're the ones that actually reached out to me and gave me a heads up on this funding. And so then I immediately reached out to the commissioners. So.
I know, but you're amazing. We're so glad you're ours.
Is there any other public comments? No.
Okay, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion. Emily is making that motion.
I'll second it.
Linda seconded.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for your patience in this crazy meeting tonight.
Oh, it's okay.
This got to go down the record books.
It's
So-
just,
Thank you, everybody.
I really still, I've still got this going on, and I was kind of rushed getting home. So I just thought, well, I'll do Zoom, but I feel really bad because I could have maybe come up there, but I just not comfortable with the mask and all.
Yes, we're good.